What is up, guys? It is Thursday, and it is a great day. We're getting ready to kick off a four-day weekend. Not 3, but 4-day weekend. We are on vacation. And we have a special guest tonight, and this is going to be an exciting interview.
Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
All right, so on the phone today we have Aalon Cruz, featherweight fighter for UFC. How you doing today, Aalon?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing
Amazing.
good.
You know, we are so excited for this podcast tonight because we've never had anyone that locks themselves into a cage and goes fisticuffs with someone. It is amazing, and we're going to pick your brain because I'm 45 years old, and I've never been punched in the face. So I can only imagine what it's like to get punched in the face and then have to shake the guy's hand afterwards.
Well, that just means you're doing well in life.
I think that the biggest thing with this to you is, man, congratulations.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
And can I just say that video, man, I never saw someone's neck snap back so hard in my life.
For that whole system that you go through there, how many fights did you actually have in the Contender Series?
Just one.
Okay. Now, did you think if it would have went the distance that you still would have got signed, or did that knee shot, the shot that's probably heard around the world, is that the thing that definitely got you in, obviously? But do you think if you didn't nail that, you would have still gotten in?
I'm not sure because I guess you never know with the judges, and a lot of people that I've talked to, some people had it going either way, or they had it, one for him, one for me. I thought I dominated the fight, and then if you look at the stats, I actually outstruck him, but it just looks bad because he was walking forward the whole time. But so I think that knee just kind of was the cherry on top of the cake, on top of the icing.
Hey, it was his first loss too, man. So I guess congratulations again.
Yeah.
Especially with 20, 30 seconds left in a fight, man. Just
now, do you know? Do you have somebody yelling to you in the corner how much time you have left?
Oh yeah, the entire time.
Okay.
So I think my coaches yelled out 30 seconds. And so I kind of knew that it was short time, and I knew I had to, end the fight with a big statement because, and it didn't necessarily mean it had to be the knee, but I just knew that I had to, finish the round strong and try to impress Dana in these last 30 seconds.
Now, how much pressure does that put on you, knowing that Dana White's, watching you right there in the spot?
You would think it would be a lot of pressure. It didn't really affect me in the fight. I mean, when I got in the cage and I was ready to go and I was in the back warming up and everything, it was just like another fight. It didn't feel any different to me. So I know other fighters have gone in there to the Contender Series and they've, felt the pressure and they felt weird about Dana and Sean Shelby and McMahon watching them. But to me, it just seemed normal. So it didn't really affect me.
No, you're fighting for Death War, right? Defiant Warrior Martial Arts out of Tampa, Florida. And how do you prepare? Like every fighter is different, basically. Like how you prepare and you get ready for a fight, but does that game plan actually come into your whole fight? I mean, if I got punched in the face, I think everything I was trained and thought about, my new thing would be survival. Like, when does that plan, if so, when does that plan get kicked out and you're just like, well, we're just going to go with it?
Yeah. Almost like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a game plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, we train so much and, we train extremely hard, and the amount of hours that you put in to, have it in your muscle memory, it's meant, the reason you do it like that is so that even when you do get punched in the face or things start to go wrong, you don't deviate from whatever your game plan was in the first place. So, when I went out there, most of my game, for the most part, against anybody, is to stay long, because I'm tall, I'm long. So that pretty much is most of my game plan, even with Stephen Wynn. Normally, I don't really take people down, but most of my fights end up on the ground because it's usually me counter wrestling. They usually shoot on me because I'm the tall, lanky guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I out wrestle them and end up on top. And then from there, I just drop, pretty good ground and pound. It's funny because my wrestling game, my grappling game is probably better than my striking game is. But, with Stephen Wynn, clearly he wasn't shooting at all. So it just became a 15-minute, stand-up battle until the end.
I feel like I'd rather be punching than be on the ground, man. I wouldn't want to lose my arm or anything like that. But,
Yeah.
but honestly, though, training wise, how often are you physically trained? Is that like an everyday thing for you?
Every day. Well, 6 days a week. So every
Wow.
day, about 3 to 4 times a day, and then Sundays, if I want to go on a run or hit the bike or do something light, just to move, then I'll do that. So I mean, if you want to count it as 7 days, you can. I'd really consider Sunday like a rest day.
That's got to be tough some days. I mean, let's be real. There's probably some days you're like, there's no way I want to go work out right now.
Oh yeah, that's like mostly your entire camp. I mean, if you're in an 8-week camp, after that first couple of weeks or so, you're kind of like, man, I'm kind of over this. But I just remind myself that there's another guy, he's training. This is what I tell myself: if I don't get up right now and go to the gym, my opponent's at the gym right now training.
Yeah.
That's
So
actually
now
some
he
really
has
good
he has an
motivation.
up on me. And every time I don't train or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, he's getting an extra point up on me, and those add up over the camp. Now, if you get up and you feel like you're going to injure yourself today, or you're overtrained and you need to take a day off or a couple sessions off, then I will take some time off. But if it's just me feeling like tired and I don't want to get out of bed, then I know I have to get up.
Now, what happens next? Now you're in UFC. Who contacts you and says this is going to be your fight? Or since you're in now, do you get a chance to pick from like lower tier fighters and work your way up? How does this whole process take place now?
So now that I'm signed, I have an agent, Dana Rubenstein from Ruby Sports and Entertainment, and he actually talks to the matchmakers, which Sean Shelby is the matchmaker for my weight class.
Okay.
So he speaks with Sean Shelby directly. Sean will give him an offer, or Daniel reach out to him, telling him when I'm looking to fight, what area, what time, and then Sean will come back with an offer at some point, and Daniel let me know, and then we either take it or we don't.
That's awesome. Are you excited? Now, do you guys have a fight set yet, or are you just still?
No, I'm actually recovering from a injury from the fight. I kind of messed up my thumb a little bit, so I actually just left physical therapy like maybe an hour ago, and yeah, it's looking more. I was shooting for December. I was trying to get on the Vegas card, but it might all be booked up right now, so it's looking like probably January.
Which still is, that's awesome. I mean, I'm happy for you. That's gotta be an exciting feeling knowing that.
But how many times can you fight a year? Like after each fight, do you have to be cleared by a doctor? Like was it McGregor and them? They had to sit out for a little bit after a fight because they didn't clear medical.
Yeah, well, so depending on how the fight goes, you like after my fight in the Contender Series, I was automatically suspended by the commission for 35 days with no contact, and then 40 days of no contact, no sparring. So 40 days total. I won the fight, and I didn't get knocked out. So usually what happens is when you get knocked out, like Steven did, they usually suspend you for 90 days. So you definitely can't fight within that suspension period. But as long as you're healthy or your body permits you to fight again, I mean you can jump on any card that's like I know Brock Weaver, that kid that just fought this past week on the final or 2 weeks ago, whenever, he's fighting on the Tampa card October 12th, which I mean so like some guys are resilient and they don't get injured in the fight and they're good to go, but
that's like Nate Diaz.
Unfortunately for me, that's not me.
It seems like Nate Diaz can fight every day if he wanted to.
Oh, for sure. Nate Diaz, ready to go, 2 weeks later, to fight. He's crazy.
Now, when you won the bout and Dana right away, he threw up his hand and said, sign him. Did anyone from UFC reach out to you and say congratulations? And any big names reach out to you?
No, not really. I mean, I just the only person that really Aljamain, well, because I went up to train at Sarah Wyman gym with my friend Favola.
Yep.
He's also in the UFC, and so I met Aljamain Sterling while I was out there, and I met Ray Janelle, Quinta out there, and so Al hit me up after the fight, told me congratulations. Aljamain hit me up, told me congratulations. Curtis Blades, he's also a UFC heavyweight. I'm actually really, really good friends with him. He hit me up and congratulated me. But other than that,
that's awesome.
I think other fighters were just sharing it. Like Dominic Cruz shared my video and stuff like that. So I mean, that was pretty cool. That was pretty wild.
Now, if you could pick a dream fight right now, who would you want to fight?
A dream fight, probably. I mean, it'd be Max Holloway or Jose Aldo. I always loved Jose Aldo.
He's like a legend. I mean, that guy's been around forever. I think he had close to 40 fights already. And I think the Conor McGregor fight, I think that was just I don't want to say a fluke because he did hit him, but I just think the tension and the anger was so high in that match. Yep. They just basically went away from everything they trained. And I think that's what happened to Conor in his last fight against Khabib. I think he just totally lost his game, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Conor or in that fight. I don't know. I think I'd heard that maybe he had been injured or something, but if you notice, like in Conor's older fights, he used to bounce.
Yeah.
Like he used to bounce like he was like a karate guy, like a point spar, and he was real light on his feet. But now he kind of just, fights like a boxer. He just like plants his feet. He just kind of walks forward. He doesn't move a lot. He doesn't throw his crazy kicks anymore. So I think he kind of got away from, what got him to that level.
Yeah. And let's face it, if Khabib gets you on the ground, that's his game.
Yep.
That's where I would love to see him and Nate Diaz fight. That would be a great fight because they're both really good on the ground.
Yeah, Nate Diaz is really good off his back. He would definitely pose problems for Khabib, but I don't know. I think Khabib's he's too strong. I feel like he'd ragdoll Nate Diaz like Nate Diaz got ragdolled by Rory.
Now, some people say you have almost like this mean look. Do you consider yourself a mean person?
No, I'm not a mean person in the least.
Just like in the cage.
Yeah, just in the cage. I mean, I've had people tell me the same thing. When they've seen me fight local or whatever, they're like, "I've never seen you look like that before." They're like, "You look so mean," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess like, I know I'm locked in a cage, with another killer who's trying to hurt me."
But the only reason I asked that is because I wanted to ask, now, how do you turn off the nice guy in the cage and you turn on like, okay, this is
like
real?
When does that switch go on?
Probably in the back. In the back is when you start getting wrapped up, and you got your headphones on, and you're running the fight scenarios in your head the whole time. That's when it gets more serious, and then you're hitting mitts in the back. You're doing your last minute drills. And then when you're about to go out, they call you on deck, like Aalon, or Cruz, you're up next. Then it really kicks in, and then from there on, I mean, it's just kill mode. Like you're ready to go.
Do you still get butterflies at all, or is it just kind of like out the window now?
Not. I don't. What's funny is I don't get butterflies in the back room anymore, or walking to the cage or anything like that. It's always, like during camp, like today, if they hit me up with a fight and they told me who I was fighting, like my stomach would drop. Like I'd be like, oh my God, like I have a fight. It's what you want, but when they actually, give you a name and a day and everything, then it kind of freaks you out a little bit. And then as camp goes on, when you're thinking about the fight at night or you're driving, sometimes your heart will just start racing and you'll just start getting butterflies out of nowhere. Like it just hits you in random spots.
Yeah, because like I feel like if I was walking in that cage and when you step a foot in the cage and the ref's in there and the other fighter's in there, I feel like that's when I'd be like, yo, this is real. Like my heart would start pounding. And I'd be I don't even know.
Do you ever feel bad for an opponent? Like, I mean, I've seen fights already where there's somebody getting pounded, like he looks like he's unconscious, and the guy's still pounding the crap out of him. I mean, if that was me, I would do the same thing. If I got someone on the ground, I'm not stopping till the ref steps in. But do you ever get to a point where you're like, man, they better stop this soon. I'm going to kill this guy.
Man, yeah, I've had that happen before. Maybe like 2 fights ago, and I was just destroying this kid in the first round. He was bleeding and there was blood everywhere, and I was just ground and pounding him really bad. Like I just kept punching, and the ref, I could feel him like looming over my shoulder, and I'm just like thinking in my head like, when are you gonna stop this fight? Like this dude's done. Like he's not coming back. But the ref wasn't stopping it, so my job continues. So I just keep going and going and going. And what ended up happening is he got through the 5 minutes, barely, and then his cornerman threw in the towel in between rounds. So luckily we didn't have to go out for a second round. But they tell you in the back, don't stop until I stop you. You're always defending yourself at all times until the ref jumps in.
Man, that's crazy.
So That's why as soon as I hit the knee and he fell back down. To be honest, I didn't know if he would pop back up because he was so tough and resilient. He already eat a knee, in the second round. So I didn't want him hitting the ground and then coming back to consciousness, and then I have to keep fighting. So I figured, I need to finish him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like now, since you have no fight schedule, what kind of stuff do you like work on and fine tune in the gym now, since you don't have an opponent to focus on?
I work on everything. I don't necessarily think I'm really that good at anything, so that's probably an advantage for me because I know some people, they know that they're like, they're a stud in wrestling, so they don't work on their wrestling as much, or that they're a stud in kickboxing, so they don't work on their striking as much. I just don't really think I'm that good at anything, so I'm always trying as hard as I can, and really trying to work on any holes that I have. Which, like I said, I always feel like I have a ton of holes. So
Yeah.
there's never really I don't ever get tired of learning. I love learning. I love drilling. Like I'll drill for an hour, 2 hours straight. Like I could do it. Like I don't get bored of it because I know I'm getting better and I just enjoy it.
Now, we always ask the question to our athletes, like, what leads you into football? What leads you into baseball? What leads someone into UFC? Like, did you play any sports growing up?
Were you stealing lunch money when you were a kid?
No, I was probably the kid getting his lunch money stolen. I played baseball since I was 6, and all the way up into high school. And I didn't make the high school team because I just wasn't really putting a lot of work into it. I started skateboarding at that time, and I was skate practices. And I remember going to the tryouts, and we didn't even play baseball. We didn't even do baseball or anything. We did sprints, and I remember I almost threw up, and the coach cut me that day, and I was like, dang. And so my friend was like, hey, he was like, you need to wear the tights and stuff and grab each other. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, it's cool. And I was like, all right. So I started wrestling and I loved it. And then I kept wrestling. And then I also joined a martial arts gym, Tiger Schulman's, during the summers to stay in shape because, we didn't have a wrestling club. And so what I would do is I would wrestle after school. And then after wrestling, I would go straight to Tiger Schulman's and do kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff. So, basically since age 16 until now, I'm 29, I've been doing wrestling and, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, everything, MMA.
Now, how were your parents? Were they all for it or were they against it?
No, my mom was 100% all about it. She's the one who signed me up at Tiger Schulman's.
Wow, that's awesome.
I asked her if she could find me, an MMA gym, and I had heard about them, and she, signed me up, and she paid. I mean, it was expensive too. Like it was like almost $300 a month.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a lot of money, so she paid for it, for as much as she could. And then like you had to buy your sparring gear from them, and the sparring gear was like $350, I think, for all of the gear. So what I had to do was wear a tiger suit at the mall, and so and then someone else was standing there with me, and they would hand out like a free class or a free week, and I just had to take pictures of little kids and stuff like that. And eventually they saw potential in me, I guess, and they just started letting me train for free.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Luckily it worked out.
Well, what's funny is my other son, he went to Colorado State, and he started hanging out at an MMA gym, and they kind of used him as like a sparring dummy. And, they'll practice their moves on it, the whole 9 yards. But then he got into it to a point where he actually started fighting. I guess they would do like a 5-minute round, and it was just nonstop. And then they would jump in, and he didn't know anything, so they would protect him and everything. Mm-hmm. But I always knew when he got his butt kicked or something bad happened to his face because he wouldn't video chat that night.
Oh.
So I said to him the same thing. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And the first time he had a match, he got punched in the face, and he just totally didn't know what to do. But he got better at it, and then they actually wanted him to sign up instead of being a sparring dummy. They wanted him to sign up, and
that's awesome.
It's a tough sport to be in. It really is, but it's good for you because it teaches you a lot of things.
It does. It really does. It's funny is I tell a lot of people, like, I know everybody can't do it, but I always tell anybody that I talk to, I'm like, I think everybody should fight at least once. Even if it's just an amateur fight, just because it's a weird experience. It's a real surreal experience. You're meeting some random person you've never met before, at a certain time, at a certain day, in front of a bunch of people you don't know, locked in a cage with a third person who, you don't even really notice during the fight, but they're there to protect you. Otherwise, you'd just be fighting to the death. And when they lock the door behind you and you actually do fight, like that's like when you really, I just the only way I can explain is that's when you really know yourself.
Yeah.
Like how you react in those situations, and then you also have a bond with this person that you fought now that you'll have forever. Like I tell people, when I've had a hard, 3-5 minute round or whatever the case may be, fight with somebody, I know that person better than their family knows them. I know them better than their girlfriend knows them. I know them better than their mom knows them because of that experience that we've shared. This life and death, struggle, desperation, whatnot. In this cage.
Yeah. Well, I have a 2-part question, and the one is like when you do get an opponent, do you actually, is it like football? Do you sit down with your coach, look at some of their previous fights, see what they do, see if they have characteristics that they carry over in their other fights? And the second part of that question is, when you're watching a fight and like you hear the guy go, "Oh, he's stunned," and all this, and his legs are gone. What does it feel like to be stunned? Because, like I said, I've never been punched in the face. Is it like you black out? Or do
you even notice it?
Do you when you're stunned and your legs are like gone? Do you even know what's going on anymore at that point?
Yeah. So for the first part, yeah, we definitely watch tape. As soon as I get a name, I look up their fights, I look up their record, I look up the records of the people they fought. I'll even watch video of the people that they fought, and I just want to know pretty much everything that I can find out about them. I kind of Facebook and Instagram stalk them too, just kind of see what they do. If they post any training videos on there, whatever the case may be. But I only do it for like a small period of time when I first find out, and then I don't look at any video until maybe 2 weeks before the fight again to refresh, because otherwise I'll obsess watching this person's fights. So I'll let my coach break down the rest of the video, and he'll tell me what we need to do, what we need to work on. And then as far as being rocked, I've only been rocked. I got rocked in my second amateur fight. The kid, I came out, and within the first 5 seconds, I hit him in the face, and I broke his nose.
Wow.
And then he backed up to the cage, and I never hit anybody clean with a punch before like that clean standing up. And I came up and I ran him and threw a body kick at him with my hands down. He just closed his eyes and threw a big overhand right, clipped me right in the chin, and it dropped me. And I remember when I was grabbing his leg, I luckily he didn't finish me. I actually ended up finishing him in the second round. But I grabbed on his leg, and I was kind of a half out of it. It was my body was just doing its own thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking in my head, this kid was eating pizza last night at the weigh-ins, which he was. He ate pizza the night at the weigh-ins, and that's what motivated me to continue fighting. And so that's one time, and then the other time was, it's actually on YouTube. It's a loss that I have. We were in the fourth round. There was a title fight, and the kid hit me. He kind of hit me in the ear, but I didn't really see it, and my legs got weak. But there was no like distortion as far as like my vision. Like it didn't seem like I got rocked, but then my legs, my body just started giving out. It was really weird. I felt like Bambi, on skates. And I was wondering what's going on? Like, why can't I control my legs right now? It was really weird. And that's probably the only 2 times I've really been rocked or like hurt, I guess, in a fight.
What's crazy? Some people think that they could just take all the punches in the world, but you take that one punch. And like without even you controlling it could just knock you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody has a limit. There's your body at some point, or your brain at some point is going to say, all right, we're done. Like we need to shut down because you're taking way too much damage.
Now let me ask you a question as far as, is there any kind of position that you try to avoid on the mat, where like if somebody gets you in that position, whether it's on your back or whatever, you basically know I got to get the hell out of this, or this match is done?
Yeah, I try to never be on my back in fights, because most of the time if you're on bottom, you're losing. And there's really not a lot to do from the bottom unless you're in full guard and you can throw up an armbar or triangle. But other than that, it's just disadvantageous to do it. So I've only been on my back out of all of my fights, amateur and pro, for maybe a total of like 30 seconds, because I just make sure that I make sure I'm on top or we're standing.
Yeah.
All right, Aalon, I just want to say thank you so much again for joining us on this podcast, and a big congratulations. We are looking forward to seeing you fight, and we're going to be cheering for you, man, and rooting for you.
I'm looking at this division. There's a lot of big names in this division. Max Holloway, Josie Aldo, Brian Ortega, Frankie Edgar.
It's a stacked division.
And Conor McGregor and them can come down to this weight class. That's one question I wanted to ask you before we let you go. How tough is it? Like when Cyborg, when she changed weight to go fight what the heck's her name, Ty? The champion.
Amanda Nunes?
Yeah, how tough is that to change weight and keep your stamina up to go to the next level?
I mean, it depends if you're going up or if you're going down. So I know Amanda fought Cyborg at 145.
145, yeah.
So for Amanda, she had to put weight on. So I think she had said that she needed a year to put extra weight on, which sounds about right, to be honest. Because if I was going to go up to 155, I would definitely need some time to add some real muscle, like some actual walking around muscle, and to get my body used to carrying that weight around.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to fight at 55, I'm probably going to walk around 180, 185, and cut that to 55. And I have to my body needs to be used to walking around that. But the 35, I could never go down. There's no way I could ever make 35. So I can't really speculate on that.
Wow.
But yeah, as far as a weight change, whether you're going up or down, there's a lot of adjustment that has to be done, and whether you can do it safely or not.
Yeah, it's just not going to Burger King and eating a few burgers and going up in weight. You actually got to work. Okay.
No.
I mean, if it's my case, I can't even put any weight on.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
I had that problem I had that problem for a long time when I was younger.
I'm still dealing
now
with that,
I can put you.
I'm trying to go to the gym, trying to get some muscle. It ain't happening.
I tell you what, Dana White's gonna have his handfuls with that women's division because there's no one that's gonna stop Nunes. I think she looks like Ronda Rousey before Ronda Rousey had her slip up, but I don't see anyone beating her. She's great everywhere. Yeah,
she's definitely the GOAT right now. I would love to see a third fight between her and Valentina Shevchenko. Mm-hmm. The thing is, like, Valentina's just not. She's perfect at her weight right now. At 125. She's a beast. Like, that's where she should be at.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At 135, where Amanda is, like, her best and she's the king, she is a big 35er, and that's her weight class. If they were the same weight class, I don't know how that fight would go. Like, they were true, like, they were both 125ers, then maybe the fight goes differently. But, Valentina's killing it where she's at. Amanda's killing it where she's at. So it just might not be in the cards for them to really fight again.
I tell you what, the one person I miss Joanna. Ever since she lost to Rose twice, it's just like, my God, I miss her. Because she was a true good champion as well.
She's just been fighting. I mean, you got to think she's only been losing to the killers, right? She lost to Rose twice, who was killing it, and then she lost to Valentina, who is the champ. Like, it's not like she's been losing to, like, a random contender. She's been losing to people who are the best.
And what's the champion now? Jessica Andrade?
Jessica Andrade, she knocked out Rose.
What is it that's so special about Brazilian fighters? It seems like they dominate.
Man, it could just be the upbringing, man. Growing up in the favelas, like, that makes you tough. That makes you hard. Yeah. And they've also got great genetics. I mean, look at Jessica's body. Like, she's jacked. Like, she's not just a normal. And it's a lot of genetics for her too. But it's genetics plus, the hard work and dedication that she puts into her craft.
It sucks because she's only 115 pounds. I'd love to see her go up and fight Nunes.
Yeah, that'd be
a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight.
That's tough. That's a lot of weight. But like we said again, man, we're rooting you on, and we hope the best for you.
Absolutely, really, and we definitely want to have you back on again.
Especially
when you become the champ. When you become the champion, don't forget about us.
I won't. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Man. We'll be a great night, and we'll be rooting for you.
All right, you as well. Y'all take care.
Thanks again, man. God bless.
All right, God bless.
All right, so that was Aalon Cruz, featherweight fighter for UFC.
Well, first of all, we were supposed to have two podcasts tonight. We were supposed to have two guests on, but the one we just did, Aalon Cruz, was freaking phenomenal.
That was awesome.
But the other one,
man, we had a blast with you.
The other one, we're going to have to reschedule again. These guys are professionals. They have a lot of things popping up, so we're going to play phone tag again and work things out.
And we apologize for any bad connection. There was a few spots where we had a little bit of a bad connection with Cruz, but it was a great time. Preston is on the phone joining us right now. How you doing, Preston?
Doing good. Doing good.
So Aalon Cruz, he was on the Dana White Contender Series, and with like 30 seconds left in the last round, this guy was undefeated. He threw a flying knee and knocked this guy out, and he did like a signing motion to Dana White, like sign me, and Dana White
did it right away.
He was
right
like,
away
I'm signing
him right away.
And he signed him that same night.
He had 30 seconds to go in this fight, and he just drilled this guy. This guy was coming straight at him, and he just did a flying knee. Like, it was like a video game thing. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
All right, Preston, so you've been blowing up my phone all day. All right.
And mine.
So
he apparently heard the podcast today.
If you guys missed the podcast that we uploaded today, which was about 2 days ago because we had some trouble uploading it, we were talking about Clowney and how he would affect having you on your team. And Preston is also an Eagles fan. So we had one Eagles fan explain to us that he would love to get Clowney in that trade and how he would run that defensive line. Preston, you are on the clock because I know you do not agree with that. So let's hear your side of it.
I disagree heavily because you look at our secondary. Our secondary is very weak. We've been consistently unhealthy every single year, except for when we made the Super Bowl run.
And that's
we
the
were
weakness.
Healthy.
That's the weakness
Exactly.
Dallas is going to take apart.
Exactly. You said it. And we already have a top 5 D-line. In my eyes, it's a top 5 D-line with Dallas, and you look at the D-lines across the league, like it is a top 5 defensive line. And to take away Brandon Graham in a passing situation, take away Brandon Graham, who is your best pass rusher, alongside of Derek Barnett to put in Clowney makes no sense to me. Because, one, Clowney benefits because of J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
They double J.J. Watt all day long. So doubling J.J. Watt makes Clowney a freak on the other side because he's drawing the lesser offensive lineman.
Well, I said this last night. I said this last night on the podcast. I said that the Eagles and New England right now are the best 2 organizations on how they handle the roster. I would not want to see, and I'm not a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I don't care what they do. But why would you want to break up the chemistry you have and give away a pick that you just got to pick up a guy that you don't know what you're getting?
Exactly, especially when Jason Peters is on his way out.
Yeah,
who's going to fill that left tackle spot? We need to train someone. It doesn't matter what he is, right guard, right tackle, center. It does not matter what he is. They're offensive linemen. They can train to be a left tackle, and as long as you give him time, he can make that transition behind one of the great left tackles that played for us.
Yeah, my view on this was, again, like, because I was texting you today, like, if you're the Eagles, your D line set, and like I was talking about the Saints line set. My opinion was Clowney's obviously a good player. It's almost like if you have a team where you are in the win it now mode, like you're trying to go to the Super Bowl now, you're not looking for the future. You're not looking to have that young guy you might be good in 2 years. Like you want someone right now who's going to help you take that next step to the championship. That was my view on it.
But you know who that is? You know who that is? If you're the Eagles, you know who that is? Like I said, Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. If you're going to try and make a big splash, he already said to the Jags that they should put him on layaway because now he's going to ask for the bag.
Yeah, because they don't want to pay him.
But
that's
to
get it.
But that's the problem with the NFL. The cornerback position, and it's going to start with Byron Jones. The Cowboys aren't going to sign him next year because he's going to be a cornerback that is going to receive about $16 million a year. The cap goes up $10 million every year.
I'm shocked they don't just get rid of it like baseball.
These positions are going to go. They're all going to go through the roof.
Yeah. I mean,
it could, like you said, Ty, if it does go to the baseball, it's going to be a luxury tax then.
You have to.
That's the way it would go. And I think a lot of players wouldn't mind that because then it does give you that room. And a lot of owners probably wouldn't mind that because it gives you a little bit more wiggle room.
You know what would even be better? Go like the NBA. Your salary is based off of how many years you're in the league.
Oh, wait! Talking about the NBA, anyone see that DeMarcus Cousins? The police have a
warrant for his arrest.
A warrant for his arrest.
Yeah, and Joe Johnson's possibly going to the Sixers.
And I also saw that KD and
Sixers gonna be good.
Kyrie are trying to get Melo to play for the Nets, but he's working out with the Knicks right now.
I don't know how well. Listen, Melo deserves to be on a team. Melo is better than half of the players in the league. I will say that.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you.
I would put him on my bench. I'd put him on the Sixers bench for a veterans minimum.
On my bench.
I think people give him a lot of credit. Like when he played with the Rockets, It wasn't Melo that was making them lose.
No.
Melo was putting up points. He was playing well for them.
He can shoot threes. Give him an incentive-based contract.
I would
you come in, you play so many games, you get a bonus.
If I was a Sixers fan, I would happily take.
Absolutely.
I am a Sixers fan. If I was a Sixers GM, I would happily take Melo. I mean, we need bench players. He's still able to start too if you wanted to.
Well,
I wouldn't say start. I'd rather have him come off the bench because I don't think he could handle the minutes of a starter.
No.
I think coming off the bench, he'd be a lot better.
I mean, you could have him start and not play as many minutes.
True, but if you have him playing against a second team, I think you'd do a lot better. I think he would, put up a lot more than what he would against the first team.
Well, do you see that Chandler from the Nets, he got suspended for PEDs?
I did. I
25 games suspension.
25 games.
Jeez.
Yep, 25.
And the Pelicans, Miller's going to miss 7-8 months. Crazy.
Listen, the Lakers signing Dwight is going to be that's it. It's
listen. I think Dwight and the Lakers is the best thing for him.
But listen, every team has bought him out. Two out of the past 3 teams that he's been with bought him out because no team wants to be. You're on it. It's kind of like Shannon Sharp said. You're on a date.
I love listening to Shannon Sharp and Skip.
He's talking, right?
Skip Booth.
He's talking, and he said he's on a date, but yet he picks up the phone, and now he's talking to someone else while he's still on that date. So it's kind of like, a team doesn't want to deal with that because they already know he's been talking with the Lakers, and LeBron and AD are recruiting him. So it's that type of relationship where they're just like, you know what, we'll buy you out. You'll be happy somewhere else, and you'll find where you need to be. And that's what Dwight needs. Dwight needs to go back.
All right, Preston. One thing I want to talk to you about.
Well, we need to go back to football because I wasn't done with that. But
we're
jumping all over the place now.
I was going to go back into football.
Well, I just wanted to say something. I heard a fantastic stat today that 10% of your roster in the NFL right now is covered by 2/3 of the salary cap for their team. That's crazy. You can't build championship teams if that's the way these teams are going to start going. If you're investing 2/3 of your cap in the freaking 10% of the team, you're done. You're done. And I think that's what the Joneses are trying to avoid.
Exactly, because now you get like Dak, Amari, and Zeke. Now, a thing that I disagreed with is, like we talked about, Dak is not a top 10 quarterback. He's probably like 11, 12.
That's why I have him.
And
NFL,
Amari,
the NFL they have him ranked as 17th, which I think that's like the third tier.
I think that's a little too excessive. I mean, if you look at the numbers, he is good enough to be 11, 12. I can name 10 other quarterbacks that are better than him, but Amari is not a top 5 wide receiver. He's in the top 10.
I would say he's a top 10. I would say he's top 10.
And what Tony was saying last night was the Cowboys offered all 3 of them top 3 contracts, which in their eyes is still enough to sign the rest of their players. Let's face it, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones especially, he's the best at negotiations. He does not care. He will not fold. That guy is an amazing poker player, and he won't fold. And even the DeMarcus Lawrence deal, they bypassed his agent, called him directly, and worked that deal out. And that deal, they can get out of that after 3 years. These guys are smart. They know what they're doing. Zeke will sign eventually. He's going to have to. Because
I think if the Cowboys go undefeated, he's going to be forced.
Well, see,
I think he's going to be forced to sign.
Yeah, I think if the Cowboys start winning, he's going to have to sign because you can't hold out for 2 years. He's going to lose money.
The Cowboys have a cupcake season in the beginning. If they start out the season, just say they start out 7-1.
Not that 4th game.
I'm just saying, they start out 7-1. They're not going to need him.
No.
They're not going to need him.
And Pillard's not bad.
And like I heard today, I heard them talking today on 105.3. Always give them the Tolo love. Mm-hmm. But they said if his salary this year is like $3 million or something like that. If he sits out until week 8, between his $240,000 game fine and the $40,000 fines that he can accrue from missing every practice, his contract's gonna be a wash. He'll be playing the rest of the season for free because he'll be paying all of his money in fines. That's crazy. He has no leverage.
It's
none.
Stupid. It's stupid. Well, you know what's crazy too is that poll that you posted on our Facebook page about would you rather sign your quarterback or running back? A lot of
Definitely
people,
quarterback.
A lot of people were
I'd
saying,
rather sign a quarterback.
yeah,
Absolutely.
But what's crazy?
Quarterback's harder to find.
That's exactly what I think. But a lot of people were saying in your case because they knew what you were talking about. They said Zeke because he's a better player. But what's crazy is Zeke is only going to last maybe 5 more years in this league.
Well, Dallas already proved they can't win without a quarterback.
Dak will last in this league possibly another 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's in his 40s.
Dak's really durable. He's
Behind
never missed
that
a game.
offensive line,
Yeah.
I mean, that offensive line will make any running back good. I mean, they took Darren McFadden and made Darren McFadden a 1,000-yard rusher again.
Yeah. Well, look at I'm very, very critical on my teams, and you can ask Rudy. Rudy, this is the Rudy segment of it. He's always talking about how I'm so freaking critical on my teams. Dak Prescott, if this is going to be his year because of what everyone is talking about in camp. He's slinging the ball around. He's thrown he's thrown pretty many interceptions in camp. But John Kitna said it doesn't matter. He's making throws that he needs to make in the game that he never was. He was always waiting for these receivers to get open or checking down to Zeke or whatever the tight end was at the time. He's now making throws, and it's showing in the preseason. He's slinging the ball down the field. He only completed 11% of his throws over 20 yards last year.
And we're not saying Zeke's Zeke's obviously, I mean, your team is obviously 10 times better with Zeke on the roster. But if you had to pick between Dak and Zeke, Dak all the way.
Yeah.
Dak's not a bad quarterback.
What's going to be scary is because I was watching Undisputed earlier, and Shannon said again, or not Shannon, they had a running back on, and he said, a running back, and he said that Saquon, you know, you could put Saquon behind anybody and he'll still be good because look at what he's given. Put Zeke behind that Giants offensive line. I don't think Zeke will put up Saquon's numbers.
No.
I mean, Saquon's just a bigger player in general. I mean, Saquon. But you think about Saquon's story. Saquon at Whitehall, Saquon at Penn State. Saquon's never had an offensive line.
No.
So Saquon had to either be good or he wasn't going to get anywhere.
But Saquon is better when they throw the ball to him than he is running.
Yes.
I mean,
in the open field, if they give him the ball in the open field.
What do you have, 92 receptions last year?
I think he led his team in receptions.
And if he breaks out and he gets a tight end on him, it's done. Done deal.
Yeah.
I'm not a tight end. I mean a linebacker. What am I saying?
A linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I knew what you meant. Yeah. I got you.
But I think and you know what? They even said with the new rules packages, and the NFL is trying to get away from the run. They're putting another official behind the line now so they can focus on holding calls. That's going to affect teams like Dallas that run, and drive that ball down people's throats. If they're going to constantly call holding so they force these quarterbacks to throw the ball, they're definitely going to ruin the game.
Yeah. What I want to eventually get into with Preston is that his Clemson Tigers play.
Yeah, they got Georgia Tech tonight.
But Preston, what I want to talk about is Trevor Lawrence. That's who I want the future QB to be at the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
You know, 3,200.
To be honest with you,
then you better have a bad season.
I don't see him being with the Saints at all because you guys are going to continue to have winning seasons. I see him being with an Oakland Raiders team because they don't have a quarterback.
Well, that's
but I want the Saints to trade up.
Oakland probably still has 3 first-round picks for next year. The way they're handling everything.
But what's crazy is this kid's 19. This kid's 19 years old. He had 3,280 passing yards last year with 30 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. 19 years old. 30 touchdowns in his first season, and he's playing for Clemson. It's not like he's playing for like a lower D1 school. He's playing for Clemson.
Who's the kid that was at Alabama and transferred to Oklahoma?
Yeah, that's
Jalen Hurts.
Yes, he's gonna be a stud this year.
He's gonna be good too. Tua's still good too.
I think what's gonna happen is you will see the playoffs as the season continues. I think Hurts will do very well in that system, and with him doing well in that system, he could be a possible Heisman candidate, and then that would be 3 years in a row that an Oklahoma player has won the Heisman. And you will see a possible Tua versus Hurts playoff game.
That'd be really cool.
In the semifinals.
I still wish they would open up the playoffs a little bit. Have more teams in it.
They should have 8. They really do.
Listen, Notre Dame needs to play a tougher schedule to be in the playoffs.
Well,
I know the
Michigan.
ACC's take, right? And now I think they play Georgia come 2020.
When does Michigan play?
Saturday we open up, and then I think we play Notre Dame week 4.
And that's going to be a big game, because especially for Michigan, because Michigan has to go through Ohio State and Penn State.
Well, this is Michigan's best year. So we'll see what happens with them. And right now, they have one of the toughest schedules in college football because they have 8 of their 12 teams ranked. Listen to those.
Bama has an easy schedule. I was looking at Bama's schedule.
Bama's always
easy schedule.
No, but what's crazy is there's 30 ranked teams, something like that, right? So why only 4 teams go to the playoffs? That makes that makes no sense.
It'll expand.
But it's been like that for 3 years now. Why haven't they
expanded?
But
they have 70 bowl games now.
Looking at Bama's schedule, they play 3 top 16 teams: LSU at number 6, Texas A&M at 12, and then Auburn at 16. And they just lost their starting middle linebacker for the rest of the year, who is going to be a high draft pick next year. So they will have an easy walk.
I remember when the SEC used to be stacked. Everybody was good.
Florida should be ashamed of how they played against.
Yeah. Oh my God, Florida blew that game. They're not Florida.
Dude, I remember Florida, Miami.
Florida beat Miami.
They all dominated. LSU dominated.
Did you say when I was talking about the playoffs? Did you say there's more bowl games now?
I said there's 70 bowl games. They can easily expand the playoff games. It's
to me. If I was playing now, a bowl game would be nothing. I want to.
Get rid of these
go
conference
to the
championships. Just let them play. Put more teams into it. The problem is if they expand it, then they're going to get some of these no-name schools that kind of trickle into the top 10. They should let them play.
You know what's crazy? You should have that. You have some schools that go undefeated. Let them play some. Yeah. Let them face some of these ranked teams next year.
They don't want to see someone like a Toledo or somebody just throwing a name out there to beat up on an Alabama. Could you imagine that?
You should let that happen.
That's Appalachian State beating the crap out of Michigan that one year.
If a team goes undefeated, if a D1 team goes undefeated and they haven't played any ranked teams, next year let them at least play one ranked team to see how they play. If they keep winning.
No, look at Lehigh's division. They have 16 teams in the playoffs every year. They have no problems with it.
I just think expanding it to at least eight teams will be sufficient enough for right now.
Or even 10 or the Sweet 16 or anything like that.
If March Madness can do 64 teams and they can get that broken down to in a month,
I know.
Then there's no reason why
college football can easily do that.
But they should at least do 16 or 10. I mean, there's 30 ranked teams, something like that. Do at least 10. At least 10.
I agree.
Because out of those top 10 teams, half of them can beat. The upper half of them can lose to the bottom half.
And you'd see a lot of more upsets, and you'd see a lot of teams in there that let's be real. Alabama, Clemson, every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year they're in it.
I'm getting tired of it, and I'm a Clemson fan, and I love it. But I'm getting tired of it.
I mean, what was the past 3 championships in a row? It was Alabama versus Clemson.
In the past, we are 2-2. I don't want to I'm gonna be real. I don't want to see a 5th one. I don't. I right now I do not want to see a tiebreaker. I could care less about a tiebreaker because I just want to win. If it happens to be against Alabama, then it happens to be against Alabama. But I want to see a new team. I'd rather play someone new we haven't played before.
The thing that kills Michigan is we end our season against Ohio State, and we haven't beat Ohio State in 11 of the last 12 games. I think we won 1 or something like that. I mean, it's just mind-blowing how bad they've been against them.
I think Ohio State's going to be pretty decent this year with Fields.
Yeah.
That transferred from Georgia. I think they'll be pretty decent.
I'm just excited for Michigan because
we can beat them.
We got Gaddis coming up from Alabama. We got a whole new team, man. We're going to be stacked.
Hopefully we can beat Ohio State. I mean, it's been what, never?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard when you play those teams consistently every single year and it comes down to one game. Because when it comes down to one game, it's probably the biggest game. It's the biggest game of the year. Shea Patterson is you're going to have to lean on Shea Patterson, your offense. Offensively, Shea Patterson is going to have to do what he needs to do.
He's a good,
and I think
he quarterback. Will. He's a good quarterback.
I think he's a good college quarterback.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I don't know.
To me, there's a difference. He's a great. He could be a great college quarterback. But Trevor Lawrence, how you said, you want to see Lawrence play for the Saints. Listen, I would love to see Lawrence play for the Eagles, but with Carson Wentz getting that big contract, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, my thing is about quarterbacks in college, though. How many Heisman Trophy winners has come to the NFL and have been flukes? Tebow, bunch of them.
I don't think Tebow was a fluke.
Tebow is one of the Tebow's one of the greatest college quarterbacks.
I know, but they got to the pros and they look what happened.
Tebow wasn't even that bad in the pros.
Look at all the ones
that coach did not like him.
Okay, but look at all the ones that were at Florida and Florida State that came to the pros that you don't even hear about him anymore.
I mean, Watson won it. I mean, yeah, he's not really doing that way. I mean, Jameis Winston. I said Watson. Jameis
I am
Winston. Johnny
so
Manziel.
upset, man.
Jameis Winston.
Johnny
Well, also you
Manziel.
got to look at what Jameis Winston went into. Jameis Winston didn't go into the best scenario. They had a beat up offensive line.
I mean, Baker
They didn't have a
Mayfield didn't
solid
go into the
running
best
back.
scenario, but yet he freaking tore it up with the Browns.
But hold on, they had Jarvis Landry. They didn't have a
Whoa,
top 10 receiver.
Winston has Evans, top 10
Oh.
receiver.
Okay, but now let's break it down even further. He had a tight end, Njoku. Where's Winston's tight end?
Howard.
He just got him last year. Just got him because he was a rookie last year. Just got him, and he had Cameron Brate for the past 2 years. But still, then Baker had Nick Chubb, rookie year. Where's Tampa Bay's running back? They had Doug Martin, and what happened to him?
It's in the garbage can now.
Exactly. Deshaun Jackson. I give Deshaun Jackson credit. He's a Philly boy. I love him. I love him to death. I'm glad that he's back, and he was great for them. But he wasn't. He was just a deep threat. That's it. He wasn't anything special besides that.
Yeah.
He's fast. Ever since he took that hit against the Falcons a couple years back, he gets scared going across the middle, and that's nothing. You got to be able to run across the middle, and that's why Mike Evans and all these bigger receivers are good. I give them credit. He's a little smaller. He's a speed demon, and that's basically all he is. But that's all he had.
I'd be scared to run across the middle.
But that's all he had, though. And you look at Baker. Baker at least has an offense and has a defense. That's important. He has Myles Garrett, who's a freak of nature. I just watched the Browns last week. They got to the quarterback in less than 2.8
I know.
seconds.
I think they had 4 sacks
Four
in the
times.
first half.
Four sacks in less than 2.8 seconds. Now, if Baker doesn't do anything this year with that team, then there's a problem.
Oh, I mean,
There's
I
a
think the
problem.
only thing that will hold Baker back is his cockiness, but I like it. I think he's going to take that team far.
I think, people talk about, Jalen Ramsey calling out receivers and doing all that.
I love it.
Adds to the
Let
game.
them do
adds
it.
to the game.
It builds them confidence to talk smack to people. Jalen Ramsey, him talking smack to the receivers, he gets in their head, and then they start to not play their best game, but he plays his best game.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to go order pizza. Mama's on the way home.
You're good.
Did you order pizza?
Yeah. Are we still on?
Yeah,
But
we're still
it-
on.
That's awesome. Hey, I'm really ticked off. I'm not shouldn't say ticked off, man. I wish our other guest would have came out tonight because he was in the NFL. I had so many questions about what goes on behind the scenes with an agent and all the crap that's going
are
on
you
now
saying-
with Marshall Falk.
Are you saying?
I would
are you
love
s-
to know.
Are you saying?
I
are
would
you
love
saying-
to know because watching Ballers, I watch Ballers, but that doesn't give you anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a show.
Are you saying-
But
I-
actually finding out what happens would be amazing.
Yeah, because
were you saying Preston's not good enough to be on our show?
No, I'm not saying at all. I'm just saying because Preston would have came on third, that doesn't mean anything. But he would have been
you
on.
see that, Preston?
But see, he still would have been on tonight with 2 other guests. So it would have been it would have been NFL, UFC, and Preston, United States military. But you know what?
And we could talk everything because I go over everything.
Yeah. But the thing that cracks me up is Marshall Falk is now in Cabo, and he got kicked out of the NFL because he had sexual harassment against one of the makeup girls.
Marshall Falk?
Yeah.
He's the
So,
guy that's on
Yeah,
ESPN,
you know
right?
that?
He got kicked out of the
He's-
NFL Network. So anyway,
Oh, really?
he
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
he's Rocky Arsenal's assistant. He's trying to become an agent. So Rocky Arsenal was Marshall Falk's agent when he was playing football. So now he's down there running his mouth, and Zeke's just sat back and saying nothing. I mean, he's come out and called fucking. Oh, gotta edit that out.
We won't add that. We're just gonna keep it. It happens once in a while.
I'm just so pumped up right now. He called freaking Dak a bum, and then they called out Jalen Smith today and said that he didn't deserve the money that he got because the Cowboys drafted a first-round draft pick linebacker. All he's doing is tearing apart that freaking locker room.
They're not gonna want Zeke there.
Zeke's not saying nothing. He's not even commenting on it. He's got to come back to this locker room, and it's going to cause tension. If Zeke was smart, he would fire his agent right now.
Wait, is his agent saying this? Or is Falk saying
No,
this?
Falk's saying it. Falk is down there basically representing the group.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. Falk.
Marshall Falk.
The guy that played for the Rams.
Yep.
Who was on NFL Network with
got fired.
who was on the NFL Network with Kurt Warner, all those guys.
Yes, got fired for
Yeah.
What did he
sexual
do?
harassment on
Sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment on a makeup girl.
On a makeup girl, someone who was doing his makeup.
Yeah.
He was hitting on her.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean-
maybe he needed makeup on his wiener. I don't know.
Jeez,
For
when
real,
when
like,
that,
I have no idea.
When did that happen?
I don't know. But
You're looking too much into it. It happened in 2017.
So now
You're looking too much into it.
it's almost like he's down there just to put his name out there so people hear him, because he's on everyone's show. Like, he was on Rich Eisen's show. He was on all these people's show, and Zeke's not saying nothing. And this has to be killing Zeke because, it's making him look bad.
But the thing, I just don't understand why you're doing this 2 years out.
He has no leverage, and
I understand.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. Like 2 years out, I don't understand.
The best thing for him to have done is get your butt to camp, negotiate while you're in camp, and play.
And why is that? What frustrates me is why is that so hard to do? And the thing with Zeke is at this point, there's just so much drama with him.
Yeah.
You think about him in the league, how many times. Like he's been suspended. He's been on Twitter pulling girls' shirts down, showing their boobs. He's holding out.
That's the problem right there. That's why Dallas will not give him $45 million guaranteed, which is girly money. Because first of all, that was a bad deal. But second of all, we can't give you guaranteed money if you can't stay out of trouble. He's one issue away from being kicked out of the NFL or being suspended for a long time.
And
think about it. You have Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt kicked that woman. Okay.
But he didn't kick. He
immediately
lost it.
Immediately lost his job.
Yeah.
Immediately lost his job. Tyreek Hill almost loses his job over the voice recording. Zeke has done this multiple times, and it's not his first time. He's done it in college as well. He has a college mentality and continues to screw up.
That's literally what I think.
If I was a GM, I'm sorry. I could put any running back behind that offensive line, and he'd be great. He'd be great.
But that's the thing that really irritates me. You got all these analysts that are coming out and say, with Zeke, Super Bowl. Without Zeke, maybe 7 or 8 wins.
And if I'm Pollard,
when was the last time a team won a Super Bowl with a great running back? I'm talking like top 3 running back.
The Cowboys in the 90s, Emmitt Smith. We won 3 of them.
How many years ago was that? Exactly. How many years ago?
It was too long.
And if I'm Pollard at camp, that's firing me up. Them saying that we can't win with. And with Zeke, I think Zeke is a great running back. Like, I'm not sitting there trying to trash him.
He is. Zeke is the best running back in the NFL right now.
And let's be real. When he's on your team, you're great. But with all the stuff that's happened to him, him getting drunk and trying to fight that security guard, him trying to get girls' boobs out, there's just so much behind him. And it's like, when are you gonna grow up and learn? There's just so much. It's like he's the next Antonio Brown.
But the Cowboys bend. They pushed that little bit amount of money up now. They offered him in between Le'Veon Bell and Gurley money for yearly salary, and he wants that bonus, and that's where Dallas won't break. And whatever.
And like me and Preston, we like to listen to Undisputed.
They'll end up trading him. If he sits out this year, he comes back next year, he still has 2 years left. They can franchise tag him. So technically they have like 4 years left with him.
We like listening to Undisputed, and they said, when you're a player in the locker room, you want your players to get paid. Like you don't argue with them, you don't talk trash to them, you want them to get paid. At some point though, you gotta think, man, Zeke's holding out. If he gets paid, none of us get paid.
And Marshall Faulk broke that rule today. He broke that rule by talking about another man's contract. He talked about
you never talk about someone else's money.
And that's exactly what Shannon Sharp said. You never talk about someone's money.
Yeah, he talked about Dak. If he gets that money, he'll be a bum. And then he talked about Jalen Smith saying he didn't deserve that contract.
And Zeke not taking action on that?
Yeah.
If I'm his teammates...
Oh, he's going to get punched right in the mouth.
Like, you got to think...
Someone's going to punch him in that big head.
And you got to think, if they're talking about a defensive player, defense and offenses don't really get along, even if you're on the same team.
No.
Defense, to me, wins championships.
And that's
why...
You
could have the best... I mean, like, yes, and you need a quarterback. But, like, especially, like, looking back, like, the Ravens, when they won their Super Bowl, look at their defense. And then look at where Joe Flacco was. Joe Flacco got that big money and then fell off the face of the earth.
I could argue that fact a little bit, though. Seattle versus New England, the defense was solid, but that coach ruined that game.
Oh, 100%.
Instead of running it in, let's throw it.
That is a... I don't know what you're thinking type of moment. That made Malcolm Butler.
They could have did a bootleg with Russell Wilson and got in for a touchdown.
I agree. As long as you just ran the ball. Why? Like, if you run the risk of
maybe they thought
11 yards,
they were going to
you have 11 yards to throw the ball. You have 11 yards. And when you have 11 yards, it gives those safeties a little bit of leeway because you can't just throw to the deepest part of the end zone. You can't do it. because now you run the risk of being out of bounds. So now you got to throw it to the middle of the field so your receiver can actually make a play. Why not just run the ball? You could run a halfback sweep. You could run anything that you want. You could run a QB dive.
Yeah.
You could literally run a QB dive and get in.
But that's why I wanted to have that guy on tonight so bad. I had all these questions in my head that I wanted to ask him, and just going to have to wait now. And by the time we get him on, Zeke will probably sign.
We can still talk about his agent and everything.
I don't know. I mean, Zeke, listen, I truly do believe that he is the best running back in the NFL. I truly do. But, you could throw anybody behind that offensive line. You could throw Doug Martin behind that offensive line. I do like Tony Pollard. I like him a lot. But I don't think you guys need Zeke. I really don't.
And you think about how many running backs came out of the fourth, look at Chubb. Chubb was like a second-round pick. Kamara was like a third or fourth-round pick. You can get guys that are just as good as Zeke.
Look at Phillip Lindsay. Phillip Lindsay had a breakout rookie year. Was a hometown player in the state of Colorado. Was a Denver player. Okay, they gave him a tryout as an undrafted pick. He ended up becoming a great rookie running back until he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
But look at what he did. He was undrafted. They gave him a tryout, so he hardly had a chance. And he ended up doing what he did.
Phillip Lindsay tore his ACL?
Yeah, so last year.
I remember him breaking his wrist or something. I don't remember the ACL.
I tell you what, though, I'm excited for football this year. I really
am. No, I believe he tore his ACL because he was in that because he missed the Pro Bowl because of it. Yeah. I'm excited for this year. I think a lot of teams have a lot to prove. A lot of players have a lot to prove. Especially with my team, Carson Wentz has a lot to prove.
Deion Sanders was on the fan today, and he came out and said, "Don't count the Redskins out." He said it is a two-team race between the Eagles and the Cowboys. He said, but don't count the Redskins out. He said they're going to shock a lot of people, especially with that defense.
So I did tell Ty this: if you're the Redskins, trade for Clowney.
Yeah.
If you're the Redskins, trade for Clowney, because that defensive line. You have Deron Payne.
It's the University of Alabama.
Kerrigan off the edge.
That defensive line is like the University of Alabama. I mean, they have a lot of guys from Alabama.
Exactly.
There.
I think they have Robinson, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. But the thing is, Ryan Kerrigan's not going to be able to rush off the edge by himself. And if you get Clowney, that will help.
Yep.
That will help a lot. So, and their secondary is a little bit better. They got Landon Collins, so that helps them there. The quarterback situation is going to be the hardest part for them.
I don't think Keenan's their starter. I think they're going to end up playing Haskins.
But for all you know, Case Keenan from Minnesota Vikings shows up, and it could happen. He could dominate.
Haskins was playing great in the preseason.
Case with the Vikings. Look at the Vikings when they had Case Keenum. They had weapons around him, and they had an amazing defense.
That's the thing with the Redskins. Redskins really don't have a good receiving core.
Exactly. They don't have a Stephon Diggs. They don't have an Adam Thielen.
And they lost Jordan Reed again. He's hurt again.
Well, did you see that hit he took?
Yeah, but I'm just saying he's hurt. He's another one. He's hurt every year. He's usually
every
the best receiver.
Every year he's hurt.
And it's funny. This hit, I feel bad for him because he literally gets hit helmet to helmet.
And if you also think about it, they got Darius Geis back, so now they have a running back.
And he might be good. He was supposed to be good out of LSU.
I don't see them carrying three quarterbacks on that team.
No, he's a running back.
No, I'm saying, but they have three quarterbacks now.
And Adrian Peterson looks good too.
Yeah, but I'm saying they have three quarterbacks on that team.
It's going to be Haskins, and I think the Saints keep three quarterbacks.
Can they put Haskins on the practice squad?
Oh, they won't. That's a first-round pick right
there.
They
won't.
Why would you put him on the practice squad?
Then they're going to have to cut.
They're going to put him as backup.
No, they'll keep three quarterbacks. They'll cut somebody else. They'll keep McCoy McCoy will be unsuited. He'll be just chilling there.
I don't know if I would want to carry.
I think they'll cut a running back because they have 5 running backs.
Yeah.
I think they'll cut a running back.
Yeah, but the way they're always injured, they might need all 5 of them.
I mean, same thing with the Eagles. We have 7 of them. So
I like it. I just gotta say, I'm a big fan of Josh Adams.
But this is the league now. This is it. This is what I tried saying the other night. It's no longer one running back dominates a team. You have a running back for every position. I mean, every situation.
Yeah, but you still get that one running back though gets more of the workload.
And a lot of those running backs that sit the bench, they're on special teams.
Yes. They're return guys. They're punt returners. Look at Kenyon Barner. We got rid of Kenyon Barner, then brought him back as a returner because he was a good returner for us. But then we had Corey Clement. Smallwood got hurt. Then we had Sproles. Sproles got hurt. Then we got Jay Ajayi. He took more of the workload. And now we got Miles Sanders and
Who's
Jordan
gonna be
Howard.
good? Who's gonna be good? Sanders will be good.
I hope so. I hope he can stay healthy. I hope he can be our every down back, and then throw in a little 2-back system in the mix. But now you got, like I said earlier, the Bears. They have David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen.
I picked him up in fantasy. I hope that's my fantasy steal, David Montgomery.
Is that Montgomery that played with the Packers?
It will be. It will, because you will
He's
be
a
surprised because they used Montgomery in the passing game, and they have Tariq Cohen in the return and passing game. Tariq Cohen's going to be, that change of pace back, but Montgomery's going to be that goal line. He's going to be that goal line presence.
Yeah,
and then the same thing with the Titans.
True story.
You have Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis.
True story. The first time I ever played fantasy football, I played in a league at my work, and it was playing for a lot of money. And I had the first overall pick in the draft. And I don't know if Noah was with me at the draft or not, but my first pick in my first draft, I took Adrian Peterson as a rookie. And everyone looked at me like, "Are you freaking stupid? Have you ever done this?" I said, "No." But by week 2, everyone was trying to trade him. You want him? You want to trade him? You want to trade him? He can't turn out to be the best running back ever.
Did you win that year?
I lost in a championship.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I lost in a championship.
I'm excited for fantasy this year. It's a lot different, seeing some of these players with new teams.
No, my quarterback was Jake Delhomme.
Who the heck's that?
He played for the
Carolina.
Panthers.
Sounds familiar.
Yep, played for the Panthers.
Steve
Smith.
I'll never forget it because I lost the championship. I forget the running back that was I had Brandon Jacobs. Who was the running back with the Carolina Panthers? D'Angelo Williams.
D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah.
He rushed for like 270 yards in his game and got like 70 points, and they just killed me in the championship.
Jeez, I liked him.
Yeah.
I'm excited for fantasy.
So am I.
Like it's
Rudy,
it's gonna
three-peat.
be a good year.
No, it's not 3-peat. The first year we closed the league doesn't count.
I don't care. A
I don't think
championship's
you're
a
gonna
championship.
You know why? I think there's going to be one running back that's going to surprise a lot of players, not only in fantasy
Hunt.
but in not Kareem Hunt. Well, Kareem Hunt just underwent surgery, so I don't think it's going to be Kareem Hunt.
No, he has until week 8 to get ready, so he'll be ready.
But then they also have Nick Chubb, and it's going to be a little bit harder for him to play half the season.
They're saying he's going to pass Nick Chubb.
I don't
that
think
he's
so.
the better
I think
running
Nick
back.
Chubb's a great running back. Why would you just spoil that for him?
Anyway, I'm the master of the waiver wire.
Josh Jacobs is going to be a surprise to a lot of teams.
Is he a free agent?
No,
not in fantasy. No, I have him. The Raiders used him as an every down back, and they use him in the slot.
You want to make a trade?
No. No, because you tried to take Zach Ertz from me for Nuke, and I'm not doing that.
I ordered it already, Ty. The only thing that I'm worried about is that kid. What's that kid, Ty? The guy from your work starts with a C. I don't know his name.
Oh, Cristo. He's got a good team.
He's got a great team. He's the only one I'm worried about. Everyone else seems like they have everyone's teams seem kind of pretty well spread out.
That's what's nice about having 10 people. We only had 8 last time.
I looked at Kirshner's
and everyone
team.
was dominant.
I was looking at Jake's team. He was the one I was really worried about, and he don't have nothing either.
Got
nobody.
He's feeling confident.
I tell you what, that pizza man had a big set of balls on him. They have 2 dogs over 100 pounds jump at the screen door like that. By the time I got down there, he was just standing there looking at him like.
Oh, was the door open?
Yeah, I had the front door open because Mom's on the way home. And the pizza guy, it's an older guy. He just standing there like, oh God, do I move or not? And these 2 big 100-pound dogs each are just jumping off the window. Nuts.
Yeah, no, I'm okay on that one.
Right.
I mean, looking at your team, you got Dak, Devontae, David Montgomery, Nuke, Juju, Hunter Henry, Calvin, Cowboys D, and Kaimi Fairbairn. Listen, I'm going to give you Hunter Henry's going to get hurt because he can't stay healthy. Calvin Ridley has Julio and Mohamed Sanu. Cowboys defense, I give you because they'll be great. Nuke's going to be great. Juju's going to be great. Devontae Freeman needs to prove that he can stay healthy.
See, the thing, I'll change my defense and my kicker at least 5 times a season because I could pick anybody up any week. But I'll play that waiver wire. And we'll see what happens. I'm working trades now. I'm already talking to Gibby about getting that Ezekiel Elliott deal done.
All right, Preston, we enjoyed your presence and hearing your opinions today. It's always a blessing and pleasure. I couldn't think of the word pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Absolutely. This was a good podcast. I love doing this off the cuff, just going at it. I love it.
I like talking. The only thing I wish we could talk about is baseball.
Well, we got to have you on again then. That's the only thing we can talk about.
Yeah, because we got to talk about the Yankees, man. The Yankees are getting Jordan Montgomery back. They're getting Severino back. They're getting Betances back. is good.
I hate the Yankees with a passion, but I will give you guys props.
Yeah.
And Boston's way out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, we got the September. We got the September rush it's gonna happen, and then we'll have to get on in October and talk about that stuff there. So,
all right,
it'll work out.
We've had some great interviews today, guys. We thank you for joining us. We're gonna end it with Preston. We're gonna end it with the podcast. You can check out all our platforms. 2 podcasts in a week. We're feeling good today, but we'll see you guys next time.